Hey, how's it going, guys? As you can see, I've put BB-8 together, and I've got him running with his lights and sound, which I'll show you shortly. It's pretty much done for the moment anyway. I still need to make a base, and I haven't decided if I'm going to have a sand base or maybe some grading like on the Millennium Falcon. So for the moment I'm going to leave it like that and just sort of think about it for a bit. I've got some other things I need to change on it too that I want, but like I said, for the moment it'll do. The lighting, I basically have it running in sequences, so whenever it powers on, it goes through a random set of numbers. It picks a random number, and it'll run that particular sequence until it's finished, and then it'll start again and pick another random number. So there's random sequences, probably about 10 sequences, so it'll go through. And we also have, at the moment, you can see the holo projectors going off. That's part of this particular sequence. But yeah, I've also lit up the radar eye there. Let me just flip them around a little bit. You can see. Yeah, so the radar eye lights up, the holo projector lights up, his little voice module thing there lights up, and on the sides there you've got those lights there that light up, the logic lights and whatever else, scanners, I don't know, whatever they've got there. The antenna, you can barely see here, is the telescoping one that I did, and that stays up once it's up. We have a switch on top of his head which cycles through all the sounds. The first one I have is, it goes through like a chatter loop which lasts for about 3 minutes, so I won't go through all that because it just talks too much, and each time you press it just goes through another one, so I can show you that. Okay, so that one's the chatter loop. So he'll just keep talking now on his own without pressing it. I will actually turn him off though, otherwise he'll be chatting, you won't be able to hear me. But as far as the painting and repainting and weathering goes, the orange, I didn't really paint the white, that was left the way it was. The orange, I retouched some areas which were a bit crappy, and I used the Tamiya orange for that, which is pretty much an exact match. I can't even tell where the touch-ups are. It was perfect. And for the aluminium parts, or the silverish parts, I used Tamiya flat aluminium, and again that was almost an exact match. I can sort of see those touch-ups, but for the most part, with the weathering and stuff, it sort of hides it, so it's alright. Yeah, so I've given him an overall darkish grey-brown wash, and then in the sort of areas around all the panels, basically it's like a staining or a spotted look to it. That was achieved by mixing a brownish greyish wash, I guess. Very, very thin wash. And then I'd work in panels. So if you can see, if I can just go down a little bit, like for example this little triangle section or that triangle section, I'd work one panel at a time, cover it with the paint, with the wash, and then take a damp wet towel, a damp paper towel, and just stipple it all over it and then that would give me the sort of a general dirty area, and then in these sections where it's a bit darker along most of the edges, I'll do the same thing, but it wasn't as watery, the wash, and I'll take like a sort of a stiff bristled brush and sort of stipple it all over, and then dab it again with the wet paper towel. And I pretty much did that all over. That's it for that. The band around here, that was the HVAC tape, and I still need to weather that a bit more. It's looking too clean, too shiny. Let's just go down here a little bit. I'll show you his arm. Still not happy with these two areas here actually. They, for some reason, the plastic there and there, it was, it stained very quickly. I don't know what happened, but I couldn't get it off. Once I put it on there, the paint didn't want to come off. So it's I don't know. I've got to blend it a bit more so it's not such a dramatic line. But anyway, good enough for now. In there, as I showed you before, those little details I added just to make it a little bit more interesting. I've got one of those push extender arm things with his little lighter. And as I said, it's a 3D printed lighter to replace the kit part, well, not a kit, the toy part. And on camera that looks like a very light cyan, but in person it's actually the same brightness as these lights that shine blue, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but anyway. That's basically it. Not much more to tell. I'll let me just spin him around a little bit and get a view around all sides. There we go. I was going to say the lighting might be a little bit boring, but depending on what sequence it's in. Sometimes they're steady on, sometimes they'll flash, sometimes they'll change colours. It's not doing much at the moment. One on this side, there's only one on this side. It just goes from red to blue. Eventually. There we go. And this one on this side. Either flashes or some are on, some are off, or they'll start ramping up and down. We can see also on his head here, if I can get that in frame. This section down there is the area that I cut out. It has like a mesh there to make it look like his logic lights. I did try to light them up, but every time I looked at them on the movie, they weren't actually lit up at all. You couldn't see any lit up, so maybe in the new one they will play a bigger part, but for the moment they don't do nothing. But everything I've done with this, it's all I've thought about the future. I've got intentions to modify some more stuff, so I made it sort of easily accessible so that I could get in there and change stuff. That's about it really. There's not much more I can show. These lights aren't playing ball. They don't want to go into the sequence I'm trying to show you. But anyway, doesn't matter. Things I've got left to do, mainly to do with the head. I want to make a new projector because it looks a bit crappy. The radar eye, I want to replace that dome piece with another one, because inside his eye you can actually see the workings. It was just too tinted, even though I actually 3D printed a part in there. I'm not sure if I've shown that in the photos, but there's a part of his eye that you can see in the movie, and it's in there, but because it's tinted you can't really see it, so I want to replace that with one that's not so dark. So yeah, and also with the holo projector, as you can see it's going off now, I want to actually project it, try projecting a map on the wall, and I had a look into it, and you need a very bright light to do that, and a lens. So at the moment I couldn't do it, but it is planned for the future. So yeah, so that's, I want to change those two things. I want to add the logic lights, if they do end up ever showing any logic lights. I never saw any, but anyway. And that's it. Well, like I said, it was pretty basic build. It wasn't anything drastic. It just took me a long time to mod everything that I wanted to. I had a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, hopefully this video is not too boring for you. I'll add some photos to the end of this, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.